had to get in my outfits real quick and got locked out of the podcast room. So we're just running late. And then the heater shut everything off. So we had to reboot everything. So there you go.
This happens. Today I went to the beach as my office and all my papers flew into the ocean. So that wasn't
Were you
what I
able to
intended,
retrieve them?
What?
Were you able to retrieve them?
Oh no. Oh, they were there and then I was like, oh, I'll just dip my toe in and grab them. And a huge wave came and ate them forever. They never showed up again.
Oh, no. Oh, such is life when your office is on the beach, huh?
I thought it was a good way to ground and get work done, but apparently it was not.
Yeah. Where are you at? In Florida?
New York.
Wait, there's a beach in New York? You were on a beach in New York? Is that a thing?
I live in the southernmost part, which is Long Island. So I'm right on the ocean.
It's not cold down there?
It's really beautiful the last 2 days. It's about 75 yesterday and today.
So you have to take advantage of that for sure.
Yeah. This is like, it could either be winter or summer in October in New York.
Yes. Same here. Like I woke up this morning. Oh my gosh, it's like 35 degrees. It's so cold. But then by the afternoon, it's like 65 and beautiful. And I'm walking on the beach. So
You're not in Southern California?
No, I'm in Northern California. So it gets not as hot and a little colder.
Yeah. Interesting.
But what I do have that they don't have is the forest. So I actually have like the seasons. I'm not living in, the cement, whatever they got going on down there. So I'm fortunate because I love fall. So I get to see all the colors.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Okay. Okay, good. So Jess, how are you?
I'm great.
Yeah. You just, you're back in town for how long?
In town where?
Oh, where you live. Are you done traveling for a while?
Oh, where I live.
You're like, wait, you know something I don't know?
I'm brain dead. That's for one. I'm traveling next week to Dallas, and that'll be it for the rest of the year. And I'm super excited about that.
Oh, goodness. I am definitely, as you know, not in that same situation. I still have about 3 or 4 to go. Minimally.
Yeah, you were really working it this year. You were.
That's a good way of putting it. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So Jessica, so I know your story, and I think it's amazing, but I would love for you to tell our listeners. So you were a lawyer. That's a lot of school. That's a lot of time you put into that that profession. That was a big commitment, but you pivoted away from that. Why is that?
Because I don't like to be told what to do, and that is the opposite of everything law related. If I had only known that sooner in my life, I guess I just thought that was what we were supposed to do. Supposed to pick a profession, supposed to go to school, become that profession, and stick with it. And so I made my whole life around becoming a lawyer, and I did it. And I got my dream job on Wall Street, and it was great for a really long time until I started really coming into my own as a person. Like, who am I? What I want, what I like, what I don't like. And the thing I love the most is freedom. And it's not just time freedom, but like freedom to just be me. On Wall Street, I had to wear a suit and I had to act a certain way. It was very masculine world. And I was just like, I wasn't me fully. I didn't have my blonde and pink hair. I didn't dress in cute outfits. I was very structured. It all had to be a certain way. And I started to feel really confined. And what I found gave me the most freedom was entrepreneurship, which was scary because I was only just first testing out getting out of my routine and my confines. So to go completely from one structured environment that was very professional into entrepreneurship, which can be whatever you want it to be, that was a huge and massive change. But it really started my flowier side, allowed me to get in touch with who I am and what I want and structure a life that made sense for me and what I need, and allowed me to essentially have it all. And so now I teach other people how to find their freedom and have it all, because so often, especially as women, we feel like we've got to choose, or we can't just be a businesswoman, we have to have kids. And then when we have kids, we're like, well, we can't really prioritize our career or ourselves because we have to prioritize the kids. And I'm just here to say, like, I do it all and I have it all and I want you to have it all. And I'm going to show you how to do it.
I love that. And I can testify all of that is true. I have the fortune of coaching with Jessica, and we have obviously a lot of similarities. You know, you've got the pink hair, I got the purple hair. We both chose a path that we wanted to for those exact same reasons, where I struggle very much with people telling me what to do as well. But I think a lot of women, and I know even just interesting, like so often on the street, I have so many women approach me like, oh my God, I love your hair. I always wanted to. And I was like, so do it. Oh, no, I couldn't. Why not? Well, I don't know. I mean, it's good for you, but it's interesting the limitations, even just self-imposed, that women will put on themselves because they're afraid to take that step, or they're afraid to be a little controversial or outside the box. Even if it's more them, they won't take the step.
And what I learned in my life is no one cares as much as you. You know, like
Right.
you think that the something you do is going to have like the biggest impact. Like, what does me having pink hair impact anyone else? It impacts absolutely nobody except for me. So if I'm saying I can't, it's because I feel I can't. It has nothing to do with anybody else. And it's funny too when people say the same thing to me and I'm like, it's hair. Like, you could chop it off, you could turn it back to a different color, you could do whatever you want with it. It's not like I'm tattooing my face over here, right? I mean, there's far more significant commitments we can make than dyeing our hair pink. So test out the water of being you with something like this that's kind of just surface level and, easy to change. And really, that's how I started with my hair. Like, it seems so silly, but it was so freeing to go blonde.
Yeah.
Like, millions of people do this every day, but to me that was like, wow, I'm free, I'm blonde. Like, oh my God, what a big life change, right? But it
Yeah.
really doesn't change anything. I'm still the same person. It's just the way that I feel changes. And so then my energy changes. And that's exactly why I teach women to get selfish, because being selfishly devoted to you and your energy makes your energy bigger and brighter for everybody else. Because if you're happy, you can exude that happy energy to the world. And for me, dyeing my hair was like the first step of me doing that. Like, oh my God, I got to go to the salon for like 5 hours every couple of months and spend a bunch of money on myself. And like, that was hard. So
Yeah.
silly. That's hard. Why? I was making a bunch of money. Like, why would that matter? But
Yeah.
we put these constraints on us, and society puts the constraints on us. And then we just say, yes, that's true. It's so arbitrary. So
It
I want to
is.
break out of all that and just be me. And I'm living a much happier life now that I've done that.
Isn't it so funny? And it is a process. I mean, that started for me. I mean, I started dyeing my hair blonde when I was like 12. So I didn't have that. The blonde hair didn't do it. I know. And it's finally submitted. At my age, it finally just went, okay, fine, I'll be blonde. And I'm like, no, but now I want you purple, damn it. Okay. But for me, the first time I got this tattoo on my arm, like same thing. Like I was like, I wanted to like hide it. It's like different. What are people going to judge me? And then all of a sudden you start to get used to it and you're like, I actually like it. I actually want to show it off. I actually, it makes me feel more me. It's an expression of myself. It's, creativity that's coming from me. And then that becomes addictive. Like you want to start expressing yourself more and more and more and do things you always wanted to do that maybe you didn't feel like you could do before. And so I love that you encourage women to do the same thing, because I think a lot of them just self-limiting beliefs, scared of judgment, whatever it is. There's a lot that women hold themselves back. I mean, I'm sure men do as well, but there's a lot we hold ourselves back on.
I mean, I think, yeah, people in general, it's not just women. That's just my
Yeah.
demographic because I am a woman. And so I've had that journey personally. And so I feel personally invested in that. But parents in general feel this way. People in general feel this way. And it's sad to me because I guess when you are not a parent, right? As I was a formerly not, right? One day I was, but so before that, it was a lot easier for me to hide who I was and not really care about the impact of what that meant. For me, having my girls was eye opening because I was like, man, if I accept this mediocrity, I'm teaching them that that's okay. That because they don't listen. Listen, guys, they don't listen to us. Okay, they don't. Kids do not listen. What they do is they mimic you. And anyone who's a parent can understand this, right? Like you see your kid do something that annoys you, and then you're like, oh shit, I do that. Whoops, that's
Yeah,
my
where'd
fault.
you learn that from? Jeez.
So
They're
the
like
same
you,
thing
duh.
is the same concept as that is like they're not going to listen to you if you say, listen, you really need to follow your dreams. But I'm just going to go back over here to my miserable job and not follow my dreams because I'm going to help you follow yours instead. They're going to grow up and they're going to do what you did. They're not going to listen to what you said because they're seeing your life play out and thinking that's the standard I'm supposed to meet. That's all happening subconsciously. So for me, when I had them, I was like, oh my God, I have to be the example now of what kind of life they can have. So I want to show them that life can be totally awesome by helping them live a totally awesome life together as a family. Me first, me leading the way and living my awesome happiness is giving them the power to be like, well, what would make me as happy as mommy? Because mommy's really happy. And she's happy because she knows herself. And so she spends time getting to know herself and then makes herself happy. So, like, how can I do that? Is it sports? Is it writing? Is it, dancing? What is it? And now they're figuring it out and they're 10 and 8. Like, imagine how awesome that would be if someone told us at 10, like,
Oh
here's
yeah.
a
No,
way
I
to
saw
do
I
it.
saw a single mom that worked two jobs who hated her job, who hated it was that's what I saw. And it kind of for me did the reverse where I was like, I want the exact opposite of that. Like that doesn't look fun at all. That is not the life I want. And so I consciously worked to not be that way for sure.
Yeah, it's funny how it works out because my family is very traditional family. My dad worked, my mom didn't.
Mm,
And I knew right away that I wasn't going to be happy not having a career. And so I resigned to the fact, well, like, then I guess I'm not going to have kids. And my mom didn't tell me that that was the way again, right? It was just that her
yeah,
life, that was her life choice. And so I just assumed, okay, you have to choose because she chose to be a mom and she
yeah,
didn't work. And so she was with us all the time. And so I was like, okay, a mom is with you all the time. I don't want to do that. Therefore, I cannot be a mom. That's like what my thought process was, as a
sure.
child. So then I thought, okay, I'm just going to be a lawyer and I'm going to go live a crazy career, international law, and I'm going to travel the world alone. And I'll just never have
Right. So is
kids.
that why
And
you just picked like the hardest career ever? You're like, screw it. If I'm going in, I'm going all in on the hardest thing you can be in a
I mean,
very
I never
masculine
thought of
type
it till
world.
now, but it seems like yes. Yes. I'm an overachiever, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I was like, I guess I'm just not going to be a mom. And then one day I got the mom vibe, I was like, I guess I do want to be a mom. And then I'm like, well, now what? Well, now how do I do both? Because I like my career and I like being a mom. So now what? And I think that's a lot of women in the world feel like that. Like, how do you go about being a wife and a mom and a career woman and a person? That's a lot of titles.
It
Like,
is.
how do you do that? How do you most of us compartmentalize it all, and then that's why we fail, because life's not about living one way in one moment and another way in another moment. Life's about making everything have harmony. That's how you find the happiness. So how do you do that? And that's a hard thing to do.
It's a really hard thing to do, especially for women who have a career, plus they have the kids, plus they have the marriage. And what's left for yourself? There's only so much capacity. You only have so much to give yourself and everything else that you're doing. And so you can try to compartmentalize. I did the same thing, but I realized I couldn't give anything up. Therefore, I felt like everything suffered because of that, because I still needed and had to do it all. And that's hard
I
too,
feel
because you
that.
think in your mind you should be able to do it all. Strong women, Wonder Woman, I can do it all. And it's like, well, you only have so much to give. So sometimes I could see the benefit. And I'll tell people who decide to just be a stay at home mom, like, I get it, because for me, I always experienced guilt. Either I wasn't giving 100% in one area or the other. So I didn't feel like I was giving it in any. And then that made me feel like I was less than, which was tough times to navigate.
Yeah, it's funny because like we think we're so different, right? Like the stay-at-home moms and the working moms and the hybrid moms, and like we're not different. Everyone's experiencing that on some level every single day, but we're just not ever talking about it, and we're not like helping each other, and it's frustrating because we're all feeling the same. So it's not easy, and it's kind of, we put ourselves in this like weird place where our standard is we have to give 100% all the time. Like we're never going to give 100% to everything all the time. It's just not even realistic for any of us to accomplish. So why is that what we aim for? It's just given that we're going to fail. And the way I look at it, right, is I don't like balance because it makes it seem like everything should shake out perfectly every day. And to me, it's more of like a harmony, sort of like everything working in an ecosystem together that sustains each other. So if I have 5 things that I need to do, like really keep the balls in the air, like my kids, myself, my career, I have 2 businesses. So that's 4 things. Let's just use that as an example, right? Me, my kids, and my 2 businesses. One day I might be like really into the kids. It might be Saturday and we're spending the whole day together. And on that day, they're going to get the highest touch and my business is going to get the lowest touch. And that's how it shakes out that day. As long as something doesn't stay in the top or the bottom for too many days in a row, then it all kind of, equalizes at the end. So the next day when I know I poured into my family already, well, now it's time for me to turn my attention to one of the other balls that I got to keep in the air. And so each thing gets a little bit every day, but it's not going to be equal every day. And if you're trying to make it equal, that's when you're going to fail because there's not enough of you to go around that intensely every day.
Exactly. Well, and it's interesting too. And I think the thing that I've seen, and certainly what happened with me, is the thing that I end up putting on the bottom is self. It's like, okay,
Of course.
I got all these other things I need to be there. But then the less I'm giving attention to myself, whether it's health and fitness or self development, really I'm doing all these other things, but how much am I really showing up for all those things when the foundation is kind of crumbled? And that's been a big thing that I've learned over the last few years is I've got to pour into myself and make number one so that I can best show up for everybody else as well.
That's such an invaluable lesson. And if anyone can learn that sooner than you or I did, then it
Yes.
will really be life changing. Because for me too, I only just learned that a couple years ago. And since then, my life has elevated and escalated to a level I never even thought was possible. And it's because I am selfish and I put me first in the equation. Because if I make the time, and I had to make it, okay, I don't have the time. You don't have the time. People listening don't have the time. You have to make the time, okay? How did I do that? I woke up very ungodly hour. That is now my normal hour, okay? But that's how I made the time. And I
Yeah.
poured into me in a way that was significant. For me, that was also fitness and yoga and meditation. And doing that made me a happier human being. How do you think that changed my dynamic with my kids? If I'm there but miserable, that's a different vibration of energy. If I'm there less time but happy, that changes my house into a happy, energized house. And that's why people, what people don't see is like you pouring into you allows you to be the parent you wish you were. The reason you're not the parent you wish you were, or the employee you wish you were, or the business owner you wish you were, is because you're not even a human being anymore. You're a robot. You haven't even thought about what you need or what you want. You're just going through the motions, and there's no energy and personality to you. And if you don't have the energy and personality to bring to your marriage or to bring to your children or to bring to your business, then everything falls flat. So if you're actually doing everyone a disservice by putting them before you.
Gosh, and that is just such wise words, and I 100% agree, because like I used to be like, look, once the kids go to bed, that's my time. That's decompression. I'm a night owl. I like to stay up. But then what ends up happening is you need to sleep in, because you've got to refresh. Well, then I wake up like right when they do, hit the ground running, handle, work all day. And now I'm going to have my alone time. But then you're like brain dead. And so it's not even good quality time that you're having with yourself. You're just like zombied out at the TV, staying awake to give yourself time by yourself, but it is not quality or meaningful or even making a difference. And so I agree. The big difference that, and I'm not a morning person, but that is where things made a difference, is when I set my alarm and started getting up earlier and getting that good 2-3 hours before the world is awake, where I can pour into myself so that I'm a better person. And lo and behold, I don't mind going to bed at 10 o'clock. Like, this is great. I can't wait to go to sleep. Like, I don't need to watch 3 hours of TV. I can just go to bed. So cool.
Well, I think
But then you've already started your day in such a great way, with all those things there. You're making you your best possible version. And that is
it's
how you
really
do it.
true.
That's how you create the time.
And I feel like, someone said to me earlier today, well, I just need to disconnect and do something mindless. And I'm like, that's the worst thing you can do for yourself. Because when you come home from work and you're tired and someone drained your energy because you had to talk to them all day or you had a boss all day, and you do something mindless, that's time that you could have poured into you that instead you poured into absolutely nothing meaningful. So you need to have mindful time, not mindless time. And it could be at night, in the middle of the day, in the morning. I don't really care if you're a morning person or you're not. The point is, if I wake up at 4 a.m. and I scroll social media for 3 hours, that's not me time. That's not purposeful, driven, mindful time. So you can have meaningless time in the morning or at night. It doesn't really matter the time of the day. It's how you utilize it. So if you're a night owl and you use your time to journal and goal set and read, or, meditate or go outside and do yoga in the dark, like, that's mindful time where you're connecting to you and what's going on inside of you, and how you can channel that energy or change the energy if it's depressed, whatever it is. At least you're connecting to you. But if you're just scrolling or watching something boring, like mindless, you're not filling your cup at all. You think you are because you're physically resting, but you're not actually, creating that dating time for you and yourself.
That is such a great way to put it, because you're right. For some people, that is night, and that is when they feel fine. For me, I always just felt tired, so it really was just a waste of time. But I think I love that point, and you're right. It could happen in the middle of the day too. You might have an hour for lunch. It's like, okay, great, I'm going to eat for 10 minutes, but I still have 50 minutes that I could do something else besides scrolling through social media. I could do 10 minutes of eating, 10 minutes of mindfulness, and now I still have another 30 minutes of a walk around the wherever I'm at before I go back to work. And so you can create that space anywhere, but it's so important to do that and to hold yourself accountable for that.
That walk is that's what I always tell people when they're like, I don't like to exercise or I don't know what to do. I'm like, just go outside and take a walk for 15 minutes. That's it. It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to go from 0 to 100, right? Like, if you've never done this before, then baby steps. Come on. Like, I didn't go from waking up with my kids at 8 o'clock to waking up at 4 a.m. I woke up at 7:30 and I'm like, let me just have my coffee before they wake up, right? And then I'm like, oh, this is kind of nice. And I'm kind of happy doing this. Let me make it 7. All right. 7's still not so bad, right? And it just incrementally became something else. So just take that walk. You just start there. It's not such a bad idea, right? Little sunshine never hurt.
No, especially after what we came through over the last few years, where some people didn't see sunshine for months at a time. Like, there's so much health benefits to that vitamin D, that fresh air, that getting out of the walls. Like, the benefits are exponential. And then you're right, 15 minutes, it's like that could turn into an hour. That could turn into, well, I only have so much time. So for me, like I throw on the weighted vest because I'm like, okay, I'm only walking. I can at least make it a little harder because I only have so much time. And so it's all about incrementally getting there instead of thinking I should already be there because I'm this age. Why aren't I there? And never starting because of, again, the limiting beliefs that you should be somewhere different than you are.
Yeah. That's exactly it. Your only limit is you. That's
Yeah.
true with everything that you do, not just about what we're talking about, but I think to me, hope is such a amazing tool that's underutilized by people because I carry these crystals around. I did a whole live on a crystal the other day, which is like so woo woo of me, but hear me out for a second. The people that are about to like mute me. It's about hope, right? Like if you believe that something can be done when everything feels hopeless, like that small sliver that you can latch onto, that could just be that little tiny energy of momentum that you need to keep going. It's when you lose your hope that everything falls apart. So just people getting in the right mindset to like keep going and have that hope and that things can change. And if that change is tiny, like getting outside a little bit and, like changing your environment for a second, like that could be a huge, meaningful moment in your day that you look forward to and gives you that hope and life for the next day. Like, ooh, I can't wait to do that again tomorrow. So, there's a lot of people who struggle with just getting out of bed in the morning because they don't have anything to look forward to. So giving yourself that ray of sunshine to look forward to, that's a big win.
Wow, I love that. And so for you, was the crystal symbology of hope, or do you actually feel the energy from it and it gives you more hope or it energizes you in that way?
It started with me just it like a reminder of like maybe some magic is possible in my life. It started with I was not a crystal lover 10 years ago, but I was having a really difficult time getting pregnant with my daughter, my second daughter. And the doctor told me, like, this ain't happening for you, lady. Like, you're going to need a donor egg. And there's more devastating things to hear, guys. I'm not looking for any sympathy, but in that moment of my life that was a pretty significant statement. And I felt very crushed. And my mom didn't know what to do with me because I was just so distraught. And she went, and she's like a Catholic person, so this crystal stuff's not like in her wheelhouse. She's not like a woo woo kind of person, but she
She wanted
got
to
the
give you the rosary and be like, here you go.
she knew that wouldn't fly with me, so she tried a hybrid approach of getting me this
Okay.
like stone, right? And it was
Yeah.
carnelian. It's this orange stone, and she was like, someone told me that this is a good fertility stone. Now, I didn't believe that this stone was going to get me pregnant or anything like that, but I kept it in my pocket and I held it in my hand every day. And I was just like, maybe there's some hope and magic in this world that like I'll be able to have this baby that I want so much. And that's all it was, is like a reminder and like a little glimmer of hope. It was a really nice gesture from my mom, which made me really happy. And so that stone, like looking at it, made me happy because it was like my mom thought about me and she believes that maybe this is somehow possible and like miracles happen. So like that's just my reminder. And I think that changed my mindset so much that I was actually able, like, your mind and your body are connected, and the things that you think do have a physical effect on your body. That's why when we see people who are hurting and depressed, their eyes are sunken in, their energy's low. There's sometimes your face can change, like your skin can get, older looking, depending on what you drink, depending on how you feel, right? So this kind of like lit me up. And I was like, okay, well, like, I feel like there's magic in the air and like, I'm just going to stay hopeful. Stay hopeful is my reminder to stay hopeful. And a couple months later, I was pregnant with my daughter naturally. And the doctor was even like, what the heck just happened? And I'm like,
I love that because they're
well,
always the last to believe in this shit. Yeah.
No, I didn't even tell him. It's actually my
Yeah.
doctor was Natalie Portman's dad. So
Oh, wow.
he's a fertility specialist in Long Island where I live. And yeah, and it was him that, he helped me get through that time. And he was like, okay, like now we're gonna monitor this and make sure this baby's healthy. And now she's 8 years old and perfect. And I think the stone got me pregnant? No, obviously I don't think that, but I do think it rejuvenated my energy and my spirit with hope. And it's a powerful, powerful thing. So now I'm much more in tune with my energetic self. So now I do feel like I feel energy in things. And, but back then it was just a glimmer of hope.
Sure. I mean, there's been so many studies, even just the placebo effect. Just even just it's the belief that it's going to happen, even if there's nothing that's really changing it. Like you said, it's a rock. Is it did it get you pregnant? Probably not. But it was that hope and that faith and that belief in that thing that all of a sudden turned everything around. And such a good reminder. You just made me go, God, I need to get like a crystal on my neck again. Like there's some things I need to achieve and I need that constant reminder. Like I know different mentors I have, like put it as your backdrop, put it here. So you're just constantly seeing it, constantly thinking about it. It is your universe where you create that. And that is the hack. That is the mindset.
It is. And for all you people out there who are like, no, Crystal, I don't want to listen to this. It's not about the crystal. It's about the focus, right? Your energy goes where your focus, or your energy flows where your focus goes. There's some kind of saying that rhymes, whatever. The point is this: if you focus on it, you get it, right? That's why when you focus on seeing all the terrible things in the world, that's all you're going to see, right? When you focus on buying a white car, suddenly you see thousands of white cars all around you, right? Like you get what you focus on. So for me, I wear, and I took them off before this because I was exercising, but I wear stone bracelets every day and I use them, like the color of the stone, to remind me of my goal that I'm working on. So it's just a reminder, like I'll see it, I'll be typing and I'll see it. I'll be like, yes, I got to stay focused on my goal, my goal, my goal, right? It's like a vision board. Same thing. You see it, you're focused on it. So it doesn't have to be woo woo. If you like woo woo, great, lean into that. And if you don't, just remember it's a reminder of what we've got our sights set on.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think it's any different than prayers to God every night. Please this, please that. Everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people do things the same thing, but in much different ways. So it's all about what resonates with you. I know I've been really doing like the positive affirmations where I'm writing it out like 10 times while I'm saying it, while before I even turn my phone on, while I'm in that beta state. Like I'm really trying out all these different things to continue to sort of jettison myself and elevating everybody up to the next level because I totally believe in all this stuff and I've seen it work a million times. And it's all about staying in that flow, creating that flow and staying there in that energy and making all that stuff happen. So I
Yeah, I'm right
appreciate
there
that you
with
said
you.
that. Now I got to start getting some jewelry, little constant reminders every day. Like I need to get those around me constantly.
Yeah, I mean, we have them in my house too. I'm like, I teach my girls it. When my ex-husband and I got divorced, and the kids were struggling. They were little, like 2 and 1 when we got divorced. So like the
Oh,
following
wow.
year,
Oh, they were
well,
young.
when they eventually went to school, they had a lot of separation anxiety. And so I got them like a stone each. And I was just like, we got these matching necklaces that we haven't taken off in 7 years. And I was just like, I'm here in your necklace. If like you need me, touch your necklace. And like we're all connected, right? Like it's symbolic of our connection. And that means something to people. And so I think whatever, I am willing to try anything that helps me succeed that, isn't harmful to me and my body. Like if you tell me to focus on this and this is going to be a reminder of it, I'm going to freaking try it because I want to win and I want to get more dialed in to myself as a person. So I think it's a great idea for people to try something like that. And, there's beautiful jewelry now they make with all of it too. If you're a lady out there, even the guys wear
Oh,
them
yeah.
now. It's a thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Or, well, it was interesting. I had Rich Davini on my podcast, and even Navy SEALs, they had like these tokens that they carry with them everywhere they go as a symbology. And it's like, you're thinking, oh, you're a tough old dude. I mean, they're probably not going to have a rose quartz crystal in their pocket, but they have a badass like symbol from the Navy to remind them of, what they need to do and how to get there. So yes, you could definitely make it whatever it is. It's just a symbol of like how we started this, hope, and where you want to be and where we want to get to.
It's powerful. The mind's a powerful thing.
It really is. Speaking of, so what made you go into barbershops? Like, why was that the entrepreneur business you pivoted into?
Opportunity. And if you're out there trying to decide you want something to change, but you don't know how to make it change, all I can say is look outside of your skill set, because you may have something valuable that you don't even know inside of you. Like you think, oh, for me, I'm like, I just know law. But really, working at the New York Stock Exchange for 10 years, what was I around? Business after business going on the exchange, $1 million businesses, right? And I could apply that to business ownership, right? You don't have to know the underlying business all the time. You can learn it, but if you have business instincts, if you have business brain, you can start any kind of business, because business is business. The same strategies apply to make it successful. So my business partner and I don't cut hair. We don't know anything about cutting hair. We learned a lot through the last 10 years, but what we did know was like there was no luxury barbershops in our area. There were women's salons, and then there were like, those hole in the wall barbershops that have been around for 100 years and they don't get updated. And so we saw a need in the marketplace and we went for it, even though we didn't really know what we were doing, to be honest. And we just kind of learned by trial by fire. We went with our gut. And we made the businesses successful based on instinct, really, and a dream, hope, and a dream.
Super
See?
smart. I mean, I've noticed even just in the last 5 years, all of a sudden there's tons of barbershops everywhere when there didn't used to be. I mean, you might be a trendsetter that hit all the way over here on the West Coast. We've probably had like 10 open up in the last 5 years. It's crazy.
We definitely set a trend here. And, what happens when you have a good idea is that people think they can replicate it. And here's
Yes.
where energy comes back into play, because we had a great business idea. We opened, we did it our way, and then everyone else saw the success and thought, oh, hey, we could do that. That seems easy. Well, it's not, because you're not us, and we're unique, and we bring our own energy to the brand and to the business, and you don't have that same energy. So you can't just, and they tried many times, many people, to just, take our style, take our look, and try to create a copy facsimile of our brand. And it's failed every time, because what you really need to do, guys, is go create your own brand. Could it be based off the same idea? Yeah, but it has to infuse your energy or it will not work. You are going to lead because you're you. So you're going to infuse your energy into your leadership. You have to infuse your energy into your branding. It has to be you. If you're creating a brand off someone else's energy, at some point, you're not going to be able to copy it anymore. You got to really lead with your own personalized style and personality. And that's what these people didn't understand. So it took about 5 years before people started copying us. And then over the last 5 years, most of those places have gone out of business, which is great for us because we're like, well, this is our block, all right? This is our area. So don't try to infringe on our space. Go somewhere else.
You're not competitive at all.
Oh, no, not at all. Listen, I might have my woo-woo crystal side, but I'm also got my masculine cutthroat side, and I'm not afraid to
Totally.
unleash it on you.
Me too. Like I have to have both. And if I'm too much on one side, I'm like, I gotta get some of that other side going, because that's the whole fun, is having balance of the two, I think.
Yeah, me too. And you know what? It's a good lesson in business for these people, because that's my bread and butter. Like that business is our number one business. So I have Pivot and Slay now, my consulting business that I run without my partner. That's just mine. But I wouldn't have that if not for my main business, right? So like you can't come and try to replicate my main business as your side piece business because I got 150% of my energy in this business. Like you're not going to come at me with your side piece, okay?
Oh, I love that. And we see it similarly in ours, where people will take things that we do and try to make it their own, but it will never be the same thing. So I totally understand that.
You'll have more success if you just go be you. Like
Right?
there's other barbershops. Like I'm not saying that, you can't go open up another barbershop that's like really reflects who you are. Like that would probably be very successful because it's
Yeah.
reflecting you naturally. So you're going to pour your energy and passion into it. It's you trying to replicate our energy and passion. That's where you're going to fail. It's
Yeah.
not that you can't open a barbershop. There's barbershops all over the place, like it's not a unique business. It's just
Yeah. Yeah.
unique in our brand because it's ours. And so that's what people really need to remember. Like someone can have a great business idea and you could be like, "Oh man, I wish I thought of that. I'm just going to do it this way and make it mine." And that's okay. That's okay. Like there's nothing wrong with that, but make it
Yeah.
yours. I think it's actually like, for the people who are being copied, it's quite a compliment because clearly we've all created something that people feel is valuable and something worth replicating. So, yay. But if you're the person replicating it, you better put a spin on it that's unique because otherwise, what are you doing? What are you offering, to the world that's different?
Yeah. Well, and I think there can be a lot of, like you said, lessons in that. My prior business, we were a franchise and there was the model, but we took that model and made it our own and put our own energy and spin. And we are the best of this model. We are very prideful of that. So for sure it can be done. But I think that's where, like you keep hitting on, is you got to pour your own energy into it and make it your own, applying the same principles as maybe the other place, but you put your spin on it. And then it's genuine, it's authentic. People are drawn to it because it's those reasons.
Yeah, I mean, the worst thing you can do is live your life as somebody else.
Yeah.
That's the most horrible feeling to not
Yeah.
be able to be you, whatever that means. It's the same in business, like you want to go live a life that's authentic to you and you want to grow a business that's authentic to you too, because that makes it fun. You're not living under someone else's thumb. You're not living in someone else's personality. You get to show up as you, whatever that is, wholly and unapologetically you. That's free. That's free. Like freedom to be who you are in your marriage, with your kids, with your friends, with your staff, in your business, in your branding. Like even today, I posted a video for the barbershop because it's like Halloween and I love hip hop music. Maybe you wouldn't think about that looking at me, but I do. And I love Nicki Minaj because she's a boss and she comes up with lyrics that are just like, I don't give a crap what you think about me. Like, this is who I am. And I respect that. So I did a Nicki Minaj lip sync of one of her songs that I love and know by heart in the barbershop dressed up like for Halloween. And it's funny. What does it have to do with barbering? Nothing. But it has to do with bringing our personalities to the business. So like that's who I am, right? I get to go to my shop and be my silly Nicki Minaj impersonator self. And like that's fun. So of course I'm going to do it really well because I have fun with it. If I'm doing something I hate, I wouldn't have as much fun. So the worst thing you can do in life and business is try to be something that you're not. Just
Yeah.
be whoever you are and let that shine through. And I think people will flock to it for that reason.
Yeah. And I say start and try sooner than later. Like, don't wait until you get to like us at our age to do this. Like, start young. Like, because I know there's just so much insecurity with younger people and teenagers and early 20s. There's just so much like pressure to fit in and be the norm and be like everybody else. But really, the fun is when you're not, and not caring what other people think.
Yeah, it took me to my 30s to figure that out. And,
Yeah.
30 is where it's at because you actually have money and you
Yeah.
actually don't care. So, like, now you're like, well, I give zero F's and I have money to do what I want. And so, haha, In your 20s, it's like you're chasing the dime, you're chasing the money, and you're figuring out who you are. You're worried about what everyone will think. But there's some really badass 20 somethings, excuse me, in our network that we're a part of, you and I. And I'm just like, damn, you're unstoppable because you figured this out in your 20s. You now have like 30s, which I think are the best decade, to go and like make crazy money and crazy business decisions. Like people wish they had those opportunities at 40 or 50, and you're going to have them like at 30. Like that's crazy. So go, if you're a young listener, go do that.
Yeah.
That's
Well, like you said,
amazing.
that's where the fun is, and then that's where the freedom is. The freedom and
Yeah.
fun are doing what you love and not caring what people think, but in the right arena that lets you do that, which you can create that, and like you did
Yeah.
with the barbershop. Like, so just to backtrack, I had a question about that. Do you feel like you're a better business owner and CEO because you're disrelated to the product? Whereas for me, I'm all in on, this was my past, my purpose, everything that I believe in. I help others because I went through it. So I'm very enmeshed in what I do. And you operate in a way that's very exterior to that. And I'm starting to think maybe it makes you a better business owner because you're not as emotionally connected to everything.
Okay. So, first of all, I'm not emotionally connected to business because that wouldn't be good for me. Like, I really take, even though Pivot and Slay is like my baby, my brand based off who I am, I still maintain my neutrality because I don't think it's good to get too emotionally attached to your business. At the end of the day, the business is here to make money. It's more successful if I'm aligned with it as by who I naturally am, because that will make me more passionate about it. But the business and me are not the same. And I think a lot of people get in, I'm not saying you, because you just said you were like emotionally attached. I'm not saying this applies to you, but a lot of young business owners I see, they get so emotional about all the business decisions because they're like, this is me. No, it's not you. It's your business. And that's separate from who you are. Okay. Let's just maintain that no codependent business relationship. Okay. The answer to your overarching question, though, is no. The business Mad Men is successful because that's my ex-husband's baby. Like that is who he is. Yes, we don't know how to cut hair, but he is passionate about men and taking care of themselves and looking good and feeling good. He is passionate about that. And that made that business successful because he brought his vision and passion to life. And we work together in that business. We own it together. But his vision is what we're crafting in that brand. And that's why it's so powerful, because it's his passion. In my passion is not haircuts or men's looks. My passion is helping small business owners find freedom, which is what makes my business Pivot and Slay so successful, because that's my passion. And so I pour into that, 1,000%, the same way that he pours his passion into the vision for Mad Men 100%. So it doesn't matter if you know how to do the underlying thing. Like I mentioned, he and I don't cut hair, but we still own a really successful barbershop brand. The passion is the important part. What makes the business successful is that you have the drive to implement the vision and keep recreating it and keep evolving it, because no business can stay stagnant and survive. And that's another reason why these copycats of business, they won't work, because they don't know how to evolve, because it's not them. It's not their vision. They're one step behind you all the time because they're just trying to copy you instead of having their own vision come to life and evolve. And that's what makes a business successful. I think that answered the question. Yes.
Yes, and I loved it because it made us both right. I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
because obviously I have a huge passion purpose for what I do, and I think that's been a huge key thing. My staff as well, of why we're here, and we've survived all this because of all the constant pivoting to survive the world and everything that's happening, and the passion to do what we do, to endure and keep doing that. So I love that answer. It's a great answer.
Yeah, I mean, passion is a beautiful thing and it's a necessity. But the key I want people to understand is like, you're still a separate person from the business. So you like make sure you're making the business decisions from a neutral perspective. Cause I remember and I'm saying this cause I did this. Like when we first opened the business, we were like every little thing we were like so overly emotional about, until we finally realized like we have to separate ourselves from the business emotionally, like not let that passion become something unhealthy. And
Sure.
now that we have that, equilibrium happening, it's great. And that's what you have too. And it's a beautiful thing. And it's what drives successful people to become more and more successful.
Yeah. Yeah. And time and experience. But yeah, I love that. I appreciate that. So I know you have a hard stop. You've got kids to get and things to
Yeah.
do. And so will you please tell our listeners where they can find you for, well, if they want to go get a haircut in Long Island, or if they want to take part in what your baby and your passion and your purpose is, where they can find you?
Yes, I would love that. So I'm on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at the Jessica Dennehy. So you can find me there, DM me. My coaching programs, if you'd like to apply for one of those, you can DM me about it, or you can go to pivotandslay.com. You can book me for speaking engagements, because I just love talking to entrepreneurs about all this fun stuff about branding and inspiration and stuff like that. So find me on the socials or at pivotandslay.com.
Hey, you got a lot going on. I love that. There is no little box for you. Your box is very big and very diverse, which is
Yes,
amazing.
it is. Same with you. That's why we get along. We're all over the
I know.
place in the best ways.
I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. You've been awesome to have on. You're always so fun to talk with. I love, you're very sweet, but I enjoy that New York undertone very much so. So thank you for being genuinely you and coming and talking with me today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks. There we go. I think we did it in perfect time.
That was perfect. Thank you.